if they don't love each other genuinely. The wife starts to love some other man, if the husband starts to love some other lady, then it becomes very difficult for them to be in harmony with each other. They try to live in harmony, and then the inner conflict just keeps on bursting, and they start to find out outer causes to be angry with each other. And in that situation, they do become bold to do what they had been wanting to do for so many months or years together. Because the interest is not in one another, the interest is somewhere else. In such situations, meditation will help the other to sustain the shock. So meditation will help the other to sustain the shock, and it will help this to enjoy more life wherever the interest is.
It's not that to be true in couples where it's happened. The one who was hurt.
Those kinds of things will happen in case when they are not interested anywhere else and they are only differing with each other, fighting with each other. Immediately the effect of meditation will be that they start to be less in conflict with each other, and they become more harmonious and more harmonious. But if the interest is somewhere else, then the situation will be difficult to patch. But help will be there with meditation in both cases.
Did you say then that the meditation will bring them closer together, or shall we leave that out?
It depends how much we know of their situation. We can always say meditation will make life better and rich under all circumstances, because inside the harmony is growing and intelligence is growing and happiness is growing. With that, life should be better, either together or separate. That's a different thing. But if they have to be together, life will be better together. If they have to be separate, life will be better separate. Enjoy. We aim at the final achievement of life becoming better. Because it could be that the man is very aggressive and it's just not possible for the poor wife to continue in that harassment. With meditation, he should become less aggressive. But if the interest is somewhere else, then it's not possible to reconcile. Therefore, we just promise them a better life, happier mood all the time and all kinds of things. But what will happen can only be determined by taking other conditions in consideration. It's always good for husband and wife to meditate together. And one more step taken ahead, it's always good for the family to meditate together. 20 minutes can be set aside morning and evening for meditation, and whosoever in the house, they all meditate. There is no one remaining outside to do any disturbance. Husband and wife is a very intimate relationship. In India, a wife is called Ardhangini, that means half body. two bodies make one life. One is half. Even in English we say, no, better half or something like that. Half. Half is this, two go to make one life. And this half is for this half, and this half is for this half. It's a very practical demonstration of unity of the duality. That is the householder's life. Life of husband and wife is a practical, physical, concrete, material demonstration of the state of unity of the two. The two aspects unite together, form one life. Just as this hand, and the two hands don't fight. One supports the other. If at all anything it does only good to the other, and this does to this. And it's such an intimate relationship. It's so intimate that it is just inseparable. It is so much inseparable that one lives for the other, and this lives for the other. One lives for the other. Such intimate life. They breathe the same breath of life, the same impulse of life is lived by the two. Even if it's lived separately, one is separate in the office for 10 hours and one is at home for 10 hours, but all that 10 hours is devoted to this 10 hours here at home, and office is devoted to home and home is devoted to office, and then there is fullness of heart and fullness of mind on both levels. And this is how, even though one is only half, but one enjoys the fullness of life, and the other half, being half, enjoys the fullness of life. So both the halves enjoy fullness of life, both together make two fullnesses of life. And this is the relationship of husband and this is the spiritual advantage of materially living together. It adds to the fullness of heart and fullness of mind and fullness of life. One is just for the other. This is a life which demonstrates devotion on the practical field of living. This is a state of life which demonstrates surrender on the practical level of living. And surrender is just mentally one. One just lives for the other, that's all. And it's a life of sacrifice, much greater and much more intimate and much more intense, much more complete than the life of sacrifice of a sannyasi. The sannyasi has a life all to himself. A householder lives for the other. A very great superiority as far as the quality of life of a householder is concerned over the quality of life of a recluse. A recluse lives for himself. A householder, in a household, the two members, both of them live for the other. It's a life of total sacrifice. One sacrifices oneself. And the delight of that sacrifice is fullness of the heart. the reward of that sacrifice is fullness of the heart. It's not a sacrifice in tension, it's not a burden, it's the sacrifice, giving of the total life to the other and deriving fullness of life therefrom. In thinking and speaking, in action, in feeling, in understanding, in discrimination, everything. One lives for the other. And such a living creates fullness of the heart. The same fullness of the heart that comes out of bliss consciousness. Indian history is full of such development of fullness of life just by husband dedicated to wife, and wife dedicated to husband, and there is absolutely no trace of this harmony between them. Both the hearts just swell in love, and the waves of love make the whole field of life a practical field of bliss. Just the waves of bliss. Same thing that results from transcending and gaining bliss consciousness is developed through complete innocent fullness of devotion to wife and devotion to husband. Distance is no barrier to this means of development, this means of development, this living one for the other. Because adopting this means, the heart just flows, and when it flows, the entire life is in the waves of feelings, in the waves of love, and absolutely no cramping influence on the way. This is the ideal of a married life. One takes upon oneself to live for the other, and this in equal degree from both sides. This is such a simple and natural and automatic procedure of developing fullness in life, gaining integration of personality, gaining all advantages that are gained by the development of bliss consciousness. It's a very automatic thing, absolutely one-sided. The river flows in only one direction towards the ocean. That's all. And here, when the two flows come from two different sides, they unite together in one big whole ocean of life. And that is the ideal of marriage life. It's a beauty, and then the whole thing is lived in such great innocence, and you don't have to prepare to live that life. You just have to be, and that's all. Simple innocence. And this kind of life, no? Just as a child is all devoted to mother, mother is all devoted to child. The life of the child is in the breath of the mother, and the breath of the mother is in the breath of the child. So much intimate love is there flowing from heart to heart. One is just the impulse of the other. And as the child grows, this grows into the love towards father. He embraces. Now this is how the consciousness in the waking state grows. Love for the father. And as it grows, the love of the married life, husband and wife together, and both of them, when they grow in love, then there is a degree to which the individual mutual love could grow, and when it grows beyond that degree, it just grows in love for God, and then that is one overflow of two loving hearts towards God, and then that individual love rises to universal love and to God consciousness and to unity, just by living life in the most natural way. Difficulty comes when one looks this way, and one ceases to be innocent, and then this cramping in the heart, and then this hurt in the mind, and then the whole smooth and blissful ocean of life becomes terrible. The ideal of married life, it's a very great opportunity and so natural. It's natural for man to love his wife. It's natural for wife to love her husband, just as natural as for the child to love his mother, for the mother to love the child. And it's so innocent and natural that the love is there for life. Child's love for mother is born out of the necessity for life. And this necessity for life from the side of the child enriches the field of life of the mother. It's so natural. Nature has created that relationship, that even though for her life mother is not dependent on the child, but because the child for his life is dependent on the mother's heart is so formulated naturally that it adds joy to mother. Just as the child's necessity for life creates in him dependent love of mother. In response to this dependent love, the mother finds life in her own heart. And then again, for life she loves the child, for her own life. Even though the love of the child is born of the physical necessity from mother, this physical necessity is not on the part of mother. Mother's life doesn't depend on the love of the child. But because child's life depends on mother, the nature has so formulated mother's heart that the mother's heart will not be enriched, and the joy of life of mother will be missing if she doesn't love the child. So, from both sides, ultimately, the need for love is natural. And this is that natural relationship. One loves the other. Quite on the same parallel levels. Completely similarly, the situation is between husband and wife. The wife depends on husband, husband depends on love, and then this dependence on each other swells in the enrichment of the heart. And this just brings to them the blessings of increasing happiness all the time. Whatever they have in their surroundings, whatever circumstances, whatever situation in society, everything else is on one side. Irrespective of any situation, the two hearts are enough to find fulfillment of life in the most innocent relationship between one another. This is the intimate relationship, and that is the reason why throughout the world the understanding is one is half of the other. Half of the other. And because in this relationship only love dominates, and love is more in the better half. That heart is made more of love. And therefore, married life is such an opportunity for spiritual development, and the whole thing happens so innocently. You don't have to manipulate that intimacy of relationship. It's enough that one is married to the other and then one is living for the other, and that's all. With all the differences, if there is love, you enjoy the differences. If you have great love for the child, your own child, the mother, if the child slaps on the mother kisses the child, oh, so good and so good. If that is the child of somebody else and he comes and beats the mother, oh, no good, get out. When there is love, the mistakes are plain. And when there is no love, even if there is no mistake, then mistakes are sprouted on him and then boycotted. So, fights in love are much greater encouragement, and it just gives the ocean of love a chance to swell in waves. And difference of opinion is all right. But one always looks deeply into the other. He is saying this, maybe he likes this. I'll also say yes, yes. He'll say we'll go there. He'll say, oh, it's fine, we'll go there. Always yes on the surface. Later on you can say, I was thinking on that.
Mad people, does it cross or they go downward or?
Whatever brahmachari gains by his vow of celibacy, the married couple gains the same nourishment and development of the qualities of the heart by living together. One contributes to the other in such a great measure that the spiritual development is compensated on a different level. Any way of life, if it is lived in the full merit of its class, will be sufficient for rapid evolution and coming to the culmination of the process of evolution for anyone. Brahmachari's way of life, then brahmachari's way of life. Married life, then married life. There is nothing in between. In between will be a waste of life. This is a picture of life, and because life is designed to evolve, in this picture, any set of life. When I say any set, I mean any legal set of life. A legal set of life. Be it recluse or householder, doesn't matter. But both are most naturally in the design of most rapid evolution. And it's so simple to live with all good and intimate and cultured and loving feeling for each other. So intimate, so good, in a natural way. It's very rewarding. very rewarding. Indian history is full of such instances. It's just full of such instances where the man was conducting his business or whatever he was doing to earn the living for the family, and the wife at home was just devoted to her husband, and that's all. And they got to such great siddhis. Siddhis means powers. Anything that they would want will come. There is that instance of Ansuya's life, Mother Ansuya. Just by being one with her husband, in thought, in feeling, in understanding, in breathing, in living, so full of dependence and devotion to her husband. Husband equally devoted to her. And then anything that she would say would happen. And that story, that I said the other day, she said, no, the sun will not rise, that's all. That command over the laws of nature, so much command, because that heart was full of love. Every fabric of that heart was just an impulse of that love, which is the wave of infinity. And then every impulse of her mind would be just worked out by all the forces of nature taken together. This is gaining mastery over creation, command over nature. And in the most natural way, no fuss about anything, no practice, nothing, whatever. Living most natural, spontaneous life. And because the love between husband and wife is such a natural, and naturally it is so intimate, spontaneously it is so uniting, that itself works as a means of yoga, means of unity, raises the value of the heart to that fullness. Just that. Therefore, what is most desirable is that as long as we have that natural quality, it's beautiful. Otherwise, we meditate and take it easy and just start living fullness and radiating life on all levels, spontaneously gaining support from all nature, spontaneously. If it's the life of a brahmachari, fine, the whole nature will support. If it's a life of a married life, dependent on each other, fine. On equal level, in equal degree, nature will support. Utter simplicity and innocence. The brahmachari lives for God, and the same thing happens in his heart. A husband lives for his wife, and the same thing happens in his heart. A wife lives for her husband, and the same thing happens for her heart. It swells in love, it gets cultured into that value, gets fullness on that level, enjoys mastery over creation. This is on the level of living, the pattern of living. This has nothing to do with transcendental meditation. Transcendental meditation, raising the level of purity in thought and feeling, enables the heart to be able to be so innocently full in love. Yes, meditation helps one to rise to that value, spontaneously, nothing. That is the value of meditation. Otherwise, just by living life according to how it is most spontaneously and naturally designed, one would rise to that infinite value of existence. Meditation gives us an extra means of culturing the heart, more extra, quickly. It expands the heart and expands the mind and then allows the greater waves of love to come up. It's a very, very fortunate situation in whatever setup we have placed ourselves, whether a brahmachari or a married man, and that's it. In between is a waste of life. No good.
Possibility to become a brother chart.
Don't have to.
Does that mean all Americans do get married?
You see, this decision cannot come from anyone else. It has to come from within one's own. I want to lead a brahmachari life or I want to lead a married life. Nobody else can decide. Marriage councils are, if they're good to help thinking here and there, but no other than man himself will be able to decide whether he wants to remain a brahmachari or a householder. Always. When people knew my intention that I want to be a brahmachari, I want to go to Himalayas and be a yogi and all that, lots of persuasion that everything you can do at home and all that. And people used to take me to some saints who saints, much in advance they'll go and tell him that we are bringing a boy to him and you persuade him to marry and all that. And because I was fond of saints and they say, oh, that saint has come there and we'll go. I said, what? Yes, we'll go. And then we'll start something talking about God and later on this topic will come up. And then the saint would talk to me quietly and will persuade me to marry and all that. And then it was a difficult thing. I never expected the saint to talk to me like that. One saint was a very powerful saint. I loved him very much. And it was in the night and he started to persuade me like that. Then I felt very bold with him. Then I said, do you think anyone else can make a decision for anybody else? What kind of life he should lead? Don't you think the decision should come from one's own? And he got a shock. Very elderly saint, good, I loved him, and he was a very learned saint and very nice. And then he got a shock, and he said, just stopped for some time, maybe 2-3 minutes, and he said, you have a very right deciding mind. No one else can decide for you, you have to decide. And I said, yes, this is what I was thinking. because it's such an intimate thing. No one else can know the whole thing about anybody else's feelings or thinking, the whole structure of life, the whole bent of life. So one only decides. And when the decisions are taken on a very natural, innocent impulse of life, they last with man. Anyway, but it must be a legally established way. This way or that way doesn't matter anyway, but it must be well lived. And meditation, as the purity of awareness grows, it grows and makes one established on what one wants to do. I would say even the thought of divorce comes out of the violation of laws of nature. One violates the laws of nature, and there he has sown the seed of separation, and when the seed grows, it becomes only evident. The separation only becomes obvious. The seed for it has been sown long ago in the violation of the laws of nature. Some acts against the natural stream of evolution have sown the seed of separation. Only it becomes obvious later on, that's all. So, it's not that separation is against the laws of nature, but the fact is that the seed of separation was sown in the violation of the laws of nature some time back. One violates the laws of nature, and there is the root of separation. Later on it becomes obvious. So the whole thing is violation of the law. Whole thing is violation of the law. If you can't live happily together, get another companion, do something about it. But it is unfortunate that this situation has arisen, but now it has arisen. The root is sometime in the past. And it is for both of them together to come together. Meditation will bring together if the interest is together. Misunderstandings will just fall off as pure consciousness grows, very naturally. But if the interest has developed somewhere else, then the whole thing has to be gone through. The ideal situation will be whosoever takes the initiative gets the consent of the other. If parents take the initiative finding some very good match for their daughter or for their son, then they should consult them, how do you like and this. And if the children start on their own, they should take the consent of their parents after all. Because the children don't know how much parents can enjoy their being married to a very suitable match, parents enjoy very greatly. And if the children don't consult their parents, there is nothing that the parents can do, but the joy that they can derive out of this happening, they are left out of their joy. And parents, being more experienced in the world, they can save the children from falling into pitfalls. It could be more, because married life is a security to the heart. That is what it secures: safety, stability to the heart. And as far as stability in life is concerned, the parents are in a better position to guide on that level. But both should go together, and they will naturally go together. If the children are close to the hearts of mother and their father, and as mostly one has to be, it's always a good thing to have the consent of parents. So this is something, but it's good for the teachers of spiritual development to have a vision on the on the setup of natural course of life, whether one takes a single course of life or one takes a companion and goes ahead, but the natural setup of life, it's good to have a vision on that, so that you have that situation. But it will not be good for us to take a line of action, nor to hold in our mind that non-divorce is good or divorce is good, because under varying situations this could be good or this could be good. If it is left to me, I would create a situation in the hearts and minds of the people that no one would ever think of divorce. But if the necessity arises, it only arises because of the lack of wisdom of life. Necessity of divorce is very unnatural. And that unnatural situation arises only due to the lack of wisdom of life. So if we can give the wisdom of life and the ideal of living, then situations of security will always be ample situation, security. What is most necessary is security. Man's heart or husband's heart needs as much security in the field of love as a wife's heart needs. Heart is a heart, whether a man's heart or a lady's heart doesn't matter. But both need security and fulfillment.